saved up.
I feel like that process made me like realize that I should have done law, because like lawyers make so much money. Like I was just like, is this like this process does not seem that difficult? And
it's actually
no, it's difficult. But I just felt like just from us, like
you won't see what happens in the background.
Exactly, but. No, what I'm trying to say is just from our house, you were able to make that much just to register a bond. Like, and you work privately from your own house. We come to you, we spend our petrol, and then you make that much. Like. Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Bipelo.
And I'm Sipo.
Did we say that in our previous video?
What?
Like our names?
We did.
Okay, I don't know. But anyway,
we did.
We are back with another video, and we are talking a lot about Sipo's area of expertise. It is. Why are you making your face like that?
Okay.
We're talking about property. We mentioned a little bit in our previous video that we have bought 3 properties in the space of like 6 months. And honestly, like we really thank God for his provision. And it's also because of Sipo's like wisdom in this area. It is.
Okay.
Are you being modest?
No, I'm not being modest. I'm being a realist.
But isn't it because of your expertise?
Okay, let's speak.
So we're going to be talking about how we did it, all the expenses involved, break down all the terms that used to confuse me like a lot. And it'll be fun though, because I know like property stuff, like I'll be just like yawning, like what?
How do you yawn?
That's because it's your passion.
No, everyone wants to know about property. That's the thing.
Who?
Everyone.
I don't know a lot of people. Like, okay, I want to know about property, but I wouldn't like, I don't know if I'd click on a video about it. But I hope you click and you stay, because it's going to be helpful, and I'll try to make it fun, because I'm here for that person who's just like a video on property. That's kind of boring. Okay, so we bought a residential, like our home, like the house that we are, a house that we want to still renovate, and then we bought 2 apartments as well. Yeah. So those ones we are renting out, and then our home has a little flatlet as well that we are renting out as well. And
always try and rent out everything.
Yeah.
Wherever you find a space, build something and rent it out.
Yeah. Because it helps as well with the bond and so forth. But we're going to be talking about how we did it. So let's get into that. So first, we kind of like, Sipo's always on Property 24. That's his standard. Like, whereas people like me, we'd be like on Instagram and whatever. Yeah. That's like his social, like that's like what he does for fun. So he was on Property 24 and he was just like, hey, I saw this. We should check it out, right? And then after that, we went to go view our home, and we also went to go view the apartments, because we bought the 2 apartments and the 1 home. Yeah. And then we liked both of them. So we signed an offer to purchase. Maybe like say what that is.
So an offer to purchase, basically, I know you'll go and view whatever properties you want to view physically, and then if you like happy with the place, and you know, obviously you agree on you sort of like know a price that you wanna put forward, you basically sign what's called an offer to purchase. And the thing is, people take that agreement very lightly, and it's actually a legally binding agreement. So that's the agreement that all the banks would use, and the deed office would use that as well. So people sometimes sign the offer to purchase, and then they realize that now, man, I don't want to actually buy this place. Then you're legally bound. So that's the document you use to place an offer. You place an amount, and it has the property description and everything in place. So that's the amount. That's the document that you'd use to apply for the loan and stuff like that. Yeah.
So then after that, you go like and apply. So I think what he's trying to say is, before you sign an offer to purchase as well, be sure that like you actually want to buy that house.
Yeah, because there's no like
turning back.
I'm not really sure in terms of the legal implications of maybe, because sometimes they might be like a cooling off period, which means that you get into something but you realize that no, man, and then you actually don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. I don't know whether that applies with an offer to purchase, because normally with like online shopping, you can shop for something and then you're like, no, I don't want to do this. And then they give you like I think it's like 5 business days sometimes. But with an offer to purchase, I doubt there is like a cooling off period where you can turn back.
Yeah. And then after that, you go to the bank. If you have a private banker, you can tell them that, hey, here's my offer to purchase. I want to apply for a loan.
Yeah. So you'd go to, any of the banks to apply for loan. So basically at the branch, if you don't have access to private banking services, you go to the branch with your offer to purchase and this with your pay slips and everything that they would require. So they normally require a 3 months pay slip, your income and expenses, and your bank statement and proof of address and your ID. And that's what you'd use to apply for the loan. So normally sometimes a bank would give you 100% loan for the entire purchase amount.
Mm-hmm.
If not, they could reject your purchase to be like, nah, you don't afford it at all.
Yeah.
Or they could give you a part of the amount. And that's where the fight came in with the primary residence, where the bank was saying they can only give us 80%. But then we had to, substantiate why we would, pay for it and stuff like that. And they ended up giving us 100%.
Yeah. And also, I think it's important to mention that Sipho works for a bank. So the reason that we buy properties and so forth is because he gets good interest rates and we can afford it. It's usually less than what the average person would get. And that way you can make a profit from it, or you can just use that to pay the bond, and there's only going to be a little bit left for us to pay the levies and rates and so forth. So the reason that Sipho is into property so much is also because he works in the property sector, he works for the bank, and the interest is quite good. So he wouldn't be making a loss from it. We just have to pay a little bit, like the actual property would pay for itself.
Yeah, and with property, especially with a rental property,
you
need to do your numbers very well. You need to, because what many people did is during COVID, interest rates were very low. They went in and bought apartments and whatever, but they didn't factor in the fact that interest rates were prime rate was 9.75% just before COVID. So now they were like, oh, my 7%. They went in and bought properties, but now it's gone back to what it was before, and now you end up making a loss. So I think you need to factor in, in terms of in the future, what would the interest rates be in terms of seeing whether you actually will be making a profit or a loss. And when buying an investment property, don't be too emotional about it. It's not so you don't want to buy a place where you feel like, oh, I can live here, I can be, I can be very comfortable, it looks very nice, it has a nice view. It's not always those properties that make the money. It's the properties where you feel like, okay, someone could actually live here and give me a decent amount of rental, and I actually got it at a bargain. So it's not always Santon that makes you money. Sometimes it's
Jeppes Town.
Jeppes Town. That's actually, I have a friend who invests in Jeppes Town, and he's making a killing.
So that's important. And it's also important to know the other costs that are involved, like transfer costs, bond registration costs, like all the things that you don't, because when you just see the amount there on Property 24 and your bank tells you, oh, you're going to be able to afford this. But do you have money saved up for the transfer costs? Do you have money saved up for the bond registration costs? Because that was a lot. Like when we actually look back, you think, okay, I'm buying 3 properties and I'll have 3 bonds, so it's fine. But actually, you need to have some amount that's saved so that you can pay for the transfer costs and the bond registration costs.
Yeah. So as like a rule of thumb, you need to have about 20% of the purchase price just saved up for about the initial cost. So transfer costs is so there's lawyers involved in purchasing a property. So when you purchase a property, you must know that property was under someone else's name. So in order for that person's name to be changed to your name now, transferring attorneys get involved. And then, so you pay them for that service. And then if you're buying a property cash, then, great stuff. You don't need bond attorneys because you don't need to register a bond. But if you are buying, sort of like taking a loan from a bank to purchase the property, then there are bond attorneys who are the ones that would then register that property under your name with the bank. So those 2 attorneys, you pay for both of them, transferring attorneys and the bond attorneys, and they meet at the deeds office to register the property in your name. So just as a rule of thumb, it's just about 20%. I may be wrong, but 20% is a good amount to save, to have the money saved up.
I feel like that process made me like realize that I should have done law, because like lawyers make so much money. Like I was just like, is this like this process does not seem that difficult? And
no, it's actually really
no, it's difficult. But I just felt like just from us, like
you won't see what happens in the background.
Exactly, but. No, what I'm trying to say is just from our house, you were able to make that much just to register a bond. Like, and you work privately from your own house. We come to you, we spend our petrol, and then you make that much. Like, even if there's a lot of like admin involved, it's fine because I'm getting that money. I think that's as well.
That's if I was to explain to people what I do, they'd probably be like, then why does the bank get paid so much too? Because you don't see what really happens. Because we work with conveyances, and we see that if a person makes a mistake on that document in terms of transferring your name, that another person can actually have a property that's under your name.
Sure.
And imagine you're doing it for like a building now. You're doing it for Sandton City.
Yeah.
Now, Sandton City is not owned by the person who paid for it.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot that goes into, but obviously if you're seeing it from the outside.
Yeah.
Even me, before I started working where I'm working now, I was like, why do you pay so much for this?
Yeah.
And then I got to really see that, okay, no, there's actually a lot that goes on in this process. But they make a lot. They
honestly, I just feel like I can be careful. I'll check your ID many times. I'll check your name. Like it's fine. I won't make that mistake. It's. I feel like it's worth it. But anyway,
do a 1-day course in conveyancing that.
Dude, I really actually
lawyers would actually come and kill you for this.
No, I know. I love you guys.
Because apparently
I respect
those exams
you guys.
are hectic.
Yeah, I respect you guys, but I really do still think that you make a lot. But and then afterwards, obviously it takes about 3 months to get it registered. Usually like a lot less. But it takes about 3 months for the property to be registered in your name. And then for our rental properties, we actually had to go out there and find people to live in those places. And you could do it yourself. Obviously, there are people who are like, oh, I know someone who's looking for an apartment, and I know you have an apartment, but we used agencies to help us find people, and obviously they take their share in the first month. Sometimes it's a percentage, sometimes it's the whole.
Normally it's one first month's rent.
First month's rent, but they were doing all of the viewings. They were finding them, doing all of the background checks, which are things that usually you don't do when you find someone. You just like, oh, Uberka guy, where does the person work, whatever, and you just take them based on that, right? Yeah. But then our using an agency actually helped because they did background checks, they did all those things, contracts, documents, whatever, and we found that it's actually a lot safer. So. Yeah. And a lot more work for us because we don't have to be viewing. They were doing that. And when they found mistakes with the properties, they could tell us and they could do a report and so forth. So it was a lot more professional for us and a lot more convenient as well. So it's fine if we pay the amount for the security that it brings, it's worth it.
Yeah. And with a rental property, you need to factor in vacancies. Obviously, your property might be vacant in certain months. So normally if you're doing your projections, you need to budget about 3 months of the property being vacant because things happen, people move out. There might be months where people aren't moving into your property.
Yeah.
So, and at the end, you still need to be paying your levies. You still need to be paying your bond. So you need to have all those costs about 3 months saved up because if you don't, then what happens is, if you can't pay, they're going to repossess.
Yeah, and I think we should mention as well that you do have a student accommodation as well. Yeah. And I think in that regard, we've seen a lot of that where sometimes it's inconsistent, sometimes it's holidays, and you still have to pay, you still have to do all these things as well.
Yeah.
But God has been good. We've managed to, there's been a lot of provision in our lives as well. But also, I just realized how when you are a landlord, there's so many costs that you don't factor in, like plumbing, things breaking all the time, because it's not you living there.
Yeah.
And sometimes just things happen where you have to maintain the property and sometimes it's not even your fault. So factor in those little expenses that you don't necessarily like imagine will happen. Like just
Yeah.
little things that happen that you always have to just factor in.
Yeah, because when I was a tenant, things would break and I'd just be like, this broke. Please come fix it.
Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi and you're just like, bro.
Yeah, but now it's you. It's on you, the landlord now. So you fix it.
Yeah.
So no matter what. And one other thing people actually need to look at is normally when you buy a property through a bank, the bank would require it to be insured. And people normally don't check. You know, I'm also a victim to this where I don't check my insurance, my policy wording document, what the benefits of that insurance. And I realized that, no man, I could have called insurance to just come and fix this and they don't even charge me. So sometimes they charge you in excess. Like if it's a geyser burst, they charge you like a certain amount. If it's like a pipe that's damaged, they charge you. But for certain things, like if your
like
microwave, if your microwave is not working, some insurance providers would say that they offer this as a service to be like, okay, we can come and fix your Wi-Fi for free.
Sure.
We locked ourselves out just when we came back from the holiday.
We got a locksmith.
Ourselves. Then when I went through the document, I realized that the locksmith is one of the services that they provide for free.
Yeah.
So you need to check your insurance documents.
And we paid a lot for that locksmith.
Yeah. So you need, in general, not just for your car or your house, all insurance documents. There's so many things that people don't reap the benefits because they simply don't read the document.
Yeah. But we have big dreams, man, in terms of the property space. Maybe one day I'll leave my job and manage our properties, family business, legacy vibes.
Yeah.
So I'll be more consistent on YouTube because, I'll have like time during the day to just come record, So yeah, we have a lot of dreams with regards to properties. Maybe one day we'll own malls, hotels. Yeah. Don't say I didn't warn you. Hello, hi. But that's the end of our video, guys. We hope you enjoyed this. And for those of you who are looking to buy properties, we hope you found this helpful. For those of you who are like, boring property video, I hope you found it like insightful but fun as well at the same time.
And if you have someone who goes to UJ, there's a property there who's accredited with NSFAS, so you can simply drop a comment on the YouTube channel to be like, okay, there's someone who's going to be studying there next year. We can arrange accommodation for them.
Yes. Love you guys. If you got to the end of this video, drop 3 brown hearts.
Why
Bye.
brown?
No, because property, brown, buildings, bricks.
Why not green?
Bricks are brown.
But
bricks
green,
are brown.
No, but green
is
guys. Sustainable. Like we all about
sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay, so drop green hearts or brown hearts or green and brown.
But
let's see if you're team Sipo or team Bibilo.
No, bricks are brown.
Okay, bye guys. Love you. Bye. Yo, guys.